make the world as a digital simulation, really, to digitalize, to steal life. It is an anti-life program. It's moving from carbon-based life to silicon-based life to a digital twin of the world that they can control, that is disconnected from spirit and...
I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to walk with this beast. Through tones, melodies, poems, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the streets. In the bright glow of the dawn, I see myself clearly, bringing in a new day. The old way of doing things is done. I don't care what you say. Monsters don't sleep under your bed. They sleep inside your head. And if you haven't done the shadow work, and left behind is where you stay. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to walk with this beast. Through tones, melodies, poems, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the street. We gotta protect plus homeschool. Our babies is a must. They not just no moms, but also no pops. These Mola worshiping pedophiles wanna feed our children's spirits to robots. Turn all of us from carbon-based to silicone-based. Should be where the shit show stops. Get back to doing for ourselves. Water system irrigation and grow crops. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to walk with this beast. Through tones, poems, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the streets. I'm saying I'm not some master teacher. No, am I some pastor or preacher? Was released represent with this passion to speak of. After doing 25 years in the beast cuffs. Realize they tried to teach us spiritual, mental, physical diet. They tried to feed us the fire of our ancestors resides in each of us. With that, I'm inspired to turn this heat up. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to war with this beast. Through tones, melodies, poems, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the streets.
We're really approaching almost like it's a Frankenstein moment. And they're framing it to us as, innovation, right? We should all be so excited that this is happening. And, I equate it to like the Golem bringing in like these robots. They would like to feed our life force to learn us in every tiny detail, not to empower us, but to actually transform us into a robotic simulation that is under their full control.
Nah, bro. Come on. You almost there, bro. You almost there. Survive. Survive.
I do it die for Chi-Town. Who am I but Chi-Town? You young fool, I'm too fly to just slide down. Blue sky but high ground. My crown slash helmet. It's for my aircraft stealth spit. Can't be tied down or even seat belted. I look down, I see green like a Celtic. My heat pulverizes, the cheese is melted. The realness of cash money, I dispelled it. You did the fusions in my eyes, I beheld it. The finger fucked, it caused my hand, I dealt it. Felt it vibrate from the gut of my pelvic. It bust all over ices and velvet shit. So radiant, I keep a dark room welded. Cause you little goofies are well quick. Body for real marquee velvet. Body you not for Mars, she's a female's clip. As a kid, all I did was fight. I did the bit with a knife. I know I can spit my flows to shit. To a fly zone, haters wanna crucify a real man. I still stand with the stiller hand, but we're healer man. It's not Cypress Hill, I'm Tuttle Sheet. I'm one tough cookie, I don't follow, I set standards. To catch me, you gon' have to do more to scamper. Need more to scanners, I'm off the radar. I am as your goofies play God. Some worship the Christ, others pray to Allah. Chase a high, drink paper or bruh. You stagnated, well I straight evolve. At a rate, I'm dated space AC, y'all. Buster stuck in the case, face off. off. After the shape the state, he's a fake, a fraud. Battlestar intergalactic, my mindset. Perfect comes from practice, so I rhyme best. I excel like I'm climbing a step. You got a lot to learn. I am adept, you of no concern. I am a threat. My measurement, width, lift, height, and depth. I'm just piloting up. Flying a jet, spray the adversary. Martial Chronicles like Ray Bradbury. I'm a thorough guy, goddammit. Symmetric apparel of a fly bandit. Mohawk, aviators, aerodynamics. And it's like I'm an arrow in precise transit. A Christmas carol lies what your fans get. Your worlds and perils what I transmit as a transcript. Or I just spit it off the top to see the shit or get off the pot. This shit's hot.
Wants to get his own crew. Everybody wants to get his own crew rich. And then they want the other little people never get a piece of the pie. And don't want to go for the graphic. And go for you niggas that think that y'all big too. I understand this. That's why you niggas from crackers can't stand me. You niggas just know that I know you can't do nothing if you're broke. Listen to me, young people and old people too. Mostly black people, I'm talking to you.
Sure. Y'all really thought that I was done with y'all. Nah. I'm really down on y'all. Fellas up. We're not going back and forth about this or that. Whether your word is bond or whack. Here's a big fact. Yellow, white, red, brown, black. Bow, Mao, Big Mac. Whether earth is round or flat. We want our shit back. Enough with the chit chat. I see through the side ops. Looking past the shy spot. Third eye gang cyclops. I don't eat pork, but I will fry cops. For foes, my heart's cold as an icebox. I'm saying die ops. From the skybox. And got scope on you pilgrims. The scope with some ropes. Some of our folks still dumb. Deaf and blind to the fact that blood, we gon' have this real show. Warrior spirits inside me. That's where it's real from. The world's a stage, page after page. Script is played out. They keep us engaged, play king or rage. This is played out. Rules of a dying society should have been disobeyed out. Forehead and knees off the floor should have been prayed out. The draft is on, go is no issue. Could've loaded in tissue. Now it's control who blows the whistle to who holds the pistols. The debacle's about who owes who the fiscal. Disregarding the aboriginal issue. We're not going back and forth about this or that. Whether your word is bound or wet. Here's a big fact. Yellow, white, red, brown, black. Mau, mau, Big Mac. Whether earth is brown or flat. We want our shit back. A fool is known by his speech. Yet if I don't speak, I suffer defeat. I'm other than we, a sucker or me. Stand on 2 feet, one turn the other cheek. The wise man known by his silence. Mostly disguised compliance. Silence by guidance. From conspiring connivance. Other aspirants of violence. Terrorists of fire. Trying their hands to hide. I'm trying to fight. In the virus of migrants, I'm hearing the sirens. Ring in my ear, they've got indictments. These pedophiles, words, groupies, and hyping. Alignments, the assignment. I'm not the wisest, I'm not client. My refinement and confinement, the requirements for this climate. Y'all push all the paperwork, or y'all can protest, but they can't escape this work. I vow to progress, don't duck, no wreck. Drill music for real. My soul they don't possess. Real foolish with no deal. Ain't playing with none of them. It's personal, know what the business is. Big monsters come full circle, so vacate your premises. We're not going back and forth about this or that. Whether your word is bound or whack. Here's a big fact. Yellow, white, red, brown, black. Mau, mau, or Big Mac. Whether earth is round or flat. We want our shit back. We're not going back and forth about this or that. Whether your word is bound or wet. Here's a big fat. Yellow, white, red, brown, black. Mau, mau, Big Mac. Whether earth is round or flat. We want our shit back.
And my music, and a lot of this music, it's only talking about the suppressed rising. I mean, the oppressed rising up against the oppressor. That's all. That's what my music's about. The oppressed rising up against the oppressor. So the only people that's scared are the oppressors. The only people who could have any harm coming to them are those who oppress. Simple as that.
3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. It's time for a change, gotta bounce up. The oppressor's about to get tossed up. I'ma lay him out, execution style, too late for an apologetic claim. You rapped at a coca flame, my God, it's overdue. Your time is to the end. Lock Jah silent without sin. He put me on the better for justice to win. The oppressor's about to get rolled down. With suppressors attached in a war zone. Revolution can start in the Arizona. I'm a messenger popping like Farrakhan. Backed by the honorable, who sits at the pinnacle, who judges the hypocritical, cynical, and the plentiful sinful. My thinking is critical. I'm just ventilating of the actions of the protective service. Quick to pull the Glock, blast and kill this. Don't take any type of skill. I'm ill of all citizens who haven't took a stand or kneels too late when the caps get peeled. Don't believe the TC type. Going hits close to home. You gotta act the bone, but it got the dome when it's on the zone. All red in my vision through sight. It's killer be killed whenever I fight. From above, I'll be given the right. So you better be ready to ride tonight. All the way to the dawn daylight. We gon' win them all, so gon' pass the kite. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3-pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender.
This world is such a and when I say this world, I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing we do. It's such a gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. You want to be successful? You want to be like Trump? Gimme. Push. Step. Crush. That's how it all is. And it's like, nobody ever stopped.
Sharon, you know I got brother Deluge up in there. Millennial, what's up? Hey, what you mean? You hurt your leg? Anyway, I sent the message back. But what was that? I didn't even know what I was looking at. Hey, no, 24, what's up? Lance, what's happening? PD, what's up, baby?
Whether it's day or dark, creates the spark, ways the heart as I sun ray my art, her make the patriarch. Most social media saviors are fakes, marks once we make knowledge born is when time and space rock. The great matriarch, whether it's day or dark, creates the spark, ways the heart as I sun ray my art, her make the patriarch. Most social media saviors are fakes, marks once we make knowledge born is when the run and face rock. I rose up, took a shower, purified my arc field. Took copper for a wall to ensure my chlorine.
That's all enough. That's enough for ToLU'S Z right now. It's never enough, actually. Hey, how y'all doing? What's happening? I want to say thanks to those who donated. I think I sent Hunchback because I was getting notifications. So I think Millennial and some brother. I'll check it before we get off and I'll shut your names up. I think Sienna, Millennial, she sent, and somebody else. So I want to say appreciate that. I want to keep it kind of like dry today. I don't want it to be too. We're going to be reading chapter 1. And I have it set up as far as the betrayal, the hijack, the everything, 1889. And I believe, excuse me. Well, I think, not believe. Belief and believe. Anyway, we'll go into those words. And I still utilize them though, and it's not appropriate. Baby Go Slaughter, I think she purchased the book. I went ahead and purchased it again too. It seems like lately when you order something, now they want to send it to your Gmail to, what is that they have you doing as far as like to, they send it to your Gmail so that way you can go over there and, like when you order the gas, what'd you say? You got to go and check the confirmation email, right? Or they want to check, make sure that you confirm that, like when I ordered some ammo from Palmetto State, PMS, PMA, PSA, whatever you want to call it, Palmetto State Armory. I never had to go over there, and you know, it's like it's the system that they're working hard to bring in. And they had sent the cash back talking about you didn't. I was like, fool, saw my card, I ordered it, it's coming to the address where I live at. And you know, there was not a whole lot of back and forth, a whole lot of words, but had to do the confirmation again and reorder. So it's just. I'm not saying this happened to everybody, but it's the first time I noticed it, and I'm hearing and seeing where other people are stating this. So, you know, I figured I'd go ahead and share it. Now, first thing I wanted to get into, I wanted to play something for you. All right, this is I did a video. It's a while back. Well, I uploaded it. Obviously, I couldn't monetize it, but I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read this. This is I think this is Jesus Christmas. This is a rabbi meeting with Netanyahu. I think it was in the 90s. But it's what he says. Now I'm gonna have to read the translation for those of you who speak Yiddish. I'm gonna read it to you, okay? Blessed success. I have seen, well anyway, blessings and success, thank you. Double portion of strength. I came to request your blessing. Netanyahu speaks to this rabbi. I'm not going to say the rabbi pastor's name. Anyway, in all aspects, okay? In all aspects, both personal and national. And then he says, the rabbi says, once we've seen each other since we've seen each other last, more matters have risen. And then Netanyahu responds, there have been some developments. And so the rabbi states that, excuse me, I have to go back a little bit. I gotta go back a little bit. I was just jumping forward. I guess maybe they're playing with it. Hold on. Yeah, it's really scary. Hold on. That which has then and still is now is that Moshiach has not yet arrived, and hence the hasten his arrival. Now, I'm going to read that again. Once seen, there have been some that which had. Jesus Christ. I think the computer is really fried eggs and ham. Anyway, there have been some developments. That which was then and still is now is that Moshiach, M-O-S-H-I-A-C-H, has not yet arrived, the Hamashiach. Hence, you should do something to hasten his arrival. And Netanyahu responds, we are doing. And the rabbi reinstates not much, as several hours of today have already passed. Yet he hasn't arrived yet. But there are still a few hours left. So we should make an effort today as well. And Netanyahu states true. Good tidings, the rabbi states. With happiness and a glad heart. You know, that chastidom be. Hold on. I got my big ass head in the way, y'all. I couldn't read the last part. It doesn't matter. The point is, good tidings and much success, and it was having the U.S. under their thumb to ensure what needs to be done and happen would happen. Now, I did a duet. I am actually in this like a green screen. I did this. I want the Yiddish to be spoken, and I could go back and redo it where I don't have to have sound. I can actually speak what he's saying, and I can upload it on YouTube. And why do I say that? Well, you have these Hebrew Israelites and Sakari, all these different groups, and I continue to tell you that people have been raised blatantly in ignorance, and they accept what they've been given. And this is the reason why we're in the state that we're in. So when let me pull it up. Is it over here? Okay, get that out of the way. A lot of you by now know who the Hamashiach is. It is not what people are telling you. When you say Yeshua Hamashiach, right? You got to remember that Yeshua, these Jews don't believe in him. All right? Unless you're going to listen to Nathaniel Bassey, who sings Yeshua HaMashiach. And I continue to tell people that Jesus and everything else that they have y'all believing in is giving energy to a false god, a deity, whether you want to call it destruction or whatever. And I know it's hard for a lot of y'all to accept that because some of y'all are so deep into this, piggybacking off of what they made, their language and everything else, which I keep telling you is not Aramaic. When you go back to cuneiform and be before that, which they've hidden, that would be more or less the language of our earth, our language, or for. And then what is cuneiform, right? Is it the language we're speaking now? I'm not here to tell you. I'm just asking people to do more and more research. So Hamashiach in Yiddish, because it is not Hebrew, they say Hebrew, it's not a Hebrew word, that means the Messiah or the anointed one. Then I just read to you what the rabbi was talking about, the Hamashiach. In Judaism, which is a lie, the Messiah is a human leader who will fulfill certain prophecies, including unifying the tribes of Israel, rebuilding the temple of Jerusalem, and ushering in a messianic age of peace. The word anointed signifies being chosen by God. Well, I hate to burst people's bubbles because we all keep reading a whole lot of fantastic stuff, but Israel was a name given to one individual. That would be astute to say the people that should come from that line, that lineage, would be that of the Semitic narrative, which is still tied to Atlantean as far as taking the lie out and readdressing and changing the narrative back to what it was. You've already seen the Christ as a chasm of fluid around your brain, between your skull and brain, right? That the sin area is the lower of your 5 bones, all right, at the lower part of your, what you call it, that is the sin area. The ladder of 33 bridges or steps, Jacob's, is your spine. The ascension of the fluid for purification, all right, the Christendom, not an outside entity or whatever, is the resetting of your neural fluid or your CFM. Have I not been reading these things for you to have a better grasp or understanding? Now you can go over there and listen to the fraudulent New York execs or whatever of the Wall Street, the Rabbi Urine Ben, whatever the friggin' name. All these rabbis are fraud, and they can sit there and talk that language, which is not Hebrew in any shape or form. They're not Semitic. They're over there murdering what little bloodline of Semitic bloodline there is, besides the fact that you have a bunch of people who don't know no better who joins them. Because you got to remember that, like the IDF and everything else, it's a composure of all the children they created out of all the people they murdered, using not their hands, but the hands of the perverted. All right? Yeshua HaMashiach. The Hebrew phrase Yeshua HaMashiach translates to Jesus the Messiah. As you know, we don't have to go into that. Yeshua is a shortened version of the name Yehoshua, which means Adonai saves. Christians believe that Jesus of Nazareth is the Messiah and that his life, death, and resurrection fulfilled messianic prophecies. No, you have a bunch of idiots running around with books who have been conditioned to keep this going for whatever the return that y'all know nothing about. Okay, because y'all idolize everything outside of you. Some of you still talking about sports. Some of y'all still talking about these musicians and this, that, and the other. And you do it with a false sense of responsibility in an idealization type of way. I see it all the time. Holding on to narratives and music that have nothing to do with anything. When we drive, yeah, we listen to music. It's just based the time and not really saying nothing and being silent. That apple juice with that salt and key lime. Oh my goodness. So the Greek translation, remember I said they always run back to a false sense of Latin and it's made up Greek? The Greek translation of Messiah is Christos, which is anglicized as Christ. It's all lines. It is for energy to be dispersed outside of you, to be given to something in pure utter ignorance, because y'all like to worship whatever it is they've got you believing in, lack of knowledge and knowing. Okay? And why do I say this? Oh my goodness. Why is it okay? How many of y'all ever heard of the Dajjal? In Islamic eschatology, the Dajjal is an evil figure who will appear before the day of judgment and claim to be the Messiah and God. The Dajjal is also known as the Antichrist and is described as one-eyed man with the Arabic letters KFR, unbelief, on his forehead. That means they don't believe in these things. Okay? And why do I say that? Because a lot of y'all believe that when you think Hamashiach, and even the rabbis, if you listen to Urim ben, whatever the frick his name is, he talks about Amalek. And what does he say about Amalek? Well, in the Hebrew Bible, Amalek is a Canaanite nation that was an enemy of the Israelites, or the true Judean people, the Antiochs. And who were the Amalekites? The Amalekites were a nomadic tribe that lived in desert devils in the desert. The name Amalek can refer to the descendants of Amalek, Esau's grandson, or anyone who lived in their territories in Canaan. What did the Amalekites do? The Amalekites oppressed the Israelites in many ways, including destroying Israelite farms, which caused a famine, helping the Midianites wage war against Israel, against the true Judeans. They're always going to use Israel because they can't cop out of that. They got to put themselves in this fake way of existence, just like there was no 6 million Jews murdered in the Holocaust in Germany. I've been over there too many times. I met too many people who know the truth. Just like the gas chambers didn't exist, it's all lies. And most of the strafing and killing of the prisoners, the POWs in the camps, all right, was by America, Britain, France, and so forth. All you gotta do is research it, man. You can fact check me and I can pull up the information that I've researched, which is a bundle, even with XIDF, and forget Urim ben, all those bastards, all right, who are the problem. Excuse the language, okay? I know there's a lot of brothers doing magnificent stuff, but they got to get to the root of the truth. And if they're not getting to the root of the truth, then what are they doing? Huh? What are they doing? What are they doing? They're doing a whole lot of something that alludes to being nothing. So we're going to be getting to the Wilmington's Lie, the murderous coup of 1989, the rise of fake white supremacy or racism. Now, that's what people need to be hearing. How did we get here? How do we get from here? When things go south and we don't get the chance, can we do something to hasten our retreat, which is not a real retreat. And trust me when I say this. To ascend doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to put on a cape and take off into the sky, which y'all think this is the sky. But anyway, it doesn't mean that you're going to leap over a building in a single bound and move faster than a speeding bullet, you know, and faster than locomotive, whatever. You stop beating bullets, whatever that. None of that's going to happen. Okay? You're not going to be in an open bay, all right, moving around like Jor-El in the bay, thinking that you're something that is compatible when you don't even know what you're dealing with because you're so stuck in your perversion of ideologies and narratives. Now, you don't have to accept what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. This is not debatable or argumentative. I don't sit here and debate people who don't have no idea of what I know, and I'm not going to argue with people who are just argumentative. Like, where's that going to go to? So I can sit there and make them feel all right in their liberal mind, which is socialism, which is fascism, which is the Bolshevik Revolution, how they destroyed Russia, turned around, betrayed Germany, and did the same thing that they're doing right now, which is Marxism. Now we can get into the reading. How much longer do I gotta suffer? Chapter 1, Cake and Wine. Let me make sure I actually saved another one over here too. Okay, that's good. Wilmington, North Carolina, winter 1865. Hey, what's going on, man? What's happening, Clash? Glass Moon, what's cracking? Old Mac, what's up, beloved? Yo, what's going on? It must have been too dark in the video. I'm in a dang mansion cleaning, pulling my leg like dang. I would be here for free just to see it. Oh, we could build one. I know it. Gotcha. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's keep it going. All right, Wilmington, North Carolina, winter 1865, and you know what happened. The closing weeks of the Civil War brought chaos and upheaval to Wilmington in late February of 1865. Great fires rose up, belching oily black smoke across the city. Supplies of rosin, turpentine, and cotton bales were set alight. All right? And you remember they used cotton, they used on what they call Black Wall Street, which is not Black Wall Street at all. Now they use turpentine bombs to firebomb that part of the city, the fake federal government. All right, they created the ones who are dual citizens, fake Jews, and everything else. Okay, the same ones who are in the positions to carry all this war, not give you anything. They think they've conquered you on your land. Da 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 da. Anyway. February 1865, great fires rose up, belching oily black smoke across the city. Supplies of rosin, y'all might say resin, but it's rosin, turpentine, and cotton bales were set alight, and not by invading Union troops, but by fleeing Confederates. Now, General Braxton Bragg and his army had managed to move most of their material out of Wilmington to use during their retreat, but Bragg ordered the remaining supplies put to the torch to keep them from the enemy. Union troops were bearing down on the city a month after their capture of Fort Fisher, a Confederate fortress of earth and sand, which is a mound. Battlements 20 miles south of Wilmington where the Cape Fear River flowed into the Atlantic. The U.S. Navy had unleashed upon Fort Fisher the heaviest naval bombardment in history at the time. Okay? The fall of the fort in January of 1865 had closed all access to the port of Wilmington and the Confederacy last functioning seaport for much of the war. Let me remove that. Okay. Wilmington's sleek blockade runners had skirted an armada of Union warships strung like beads off the Atlantic coast. After New Orleans and Norfolk were captured by Union forces in the spring of 1862 and Vicksburg fell in July of 1863, and with Charleston under Union siege for much of the war, Wilmington had become the main source of weapons, clothing, food, and supplies for the Confederacy. Among the Union units that overran Fort Fisher in January 1865 were colored brigades that included black soldiers from Wilmington. And you got to remember, there were melanated people, regardless of whether they were ours or not, from all over the world, fighting us in the South. All right, and everybody's talking about the Buffalo Soldiers. Well, you know, we had already taught people lived around us all of our ways. I would enjoy seeing someone actually have an intellectual interpretation or break it down with sources and references to allude to the truth of when they're saying, well, the North and the South was a white battle. No, it wasn't. It had nothing to do with slavery either, well, with the Slavs. And that's how the North was able, these fake Jews, after they murdered our king, Lincoln, they were able to turn around and fabricate new narratives because the Punch Bowl, Rosewood, all these great cities that were leveled, razed, okay? The drowning of thousands, if not millions, and murder of a plethora of people who were innocent, not combatants, who saw peace most of their lives. Into these dredged, these wretched things, misaligned, misguided, and they built their troops up over those few centuries to embark on doing what happened here. When we were at peace, though we had excellent troops and superior combatants, but when you're at peace and you get wind of the worlds of war and you see the Hatak people around to hand out fighting schools and all these new things to better the odds, you know, what's coming with all these numbers of abandoned recluses. You got to remember, at the World's Fair, they stood around the grand cities like they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Okay? Now, as Union forces approached Wilmington that February, General Bragg destroyed several railroad lines leading out of the city and set fire to bridges, wharves, and shipyards. Portions of the main rail line, the Wilmington, Charlotte, and Rutherford Railroad, remained intact, though some of the rails on the line would later be ripped up for use as scrap iron by Union troops before the Confederate soldiers retreated. Some looted shops when Union soldiers arrived. They looted too as well, those Union soldiers. And food shortages broke out. Whole hams were briefly offered for sale at the preposterous price of $525, corn sold for $40 a bushel, and saw pork for $6 a pound. People begged for food on the streets. Now this is while money still had its gold and silver, and we were on the back and the front of them. Go pull it up if you don't want to like what I'm saying. All right. Now, by the time General Alfred Howe Terry led a column of Union soldiers on bay charges to City Hall to take command of Wilmington on February 22nd, the city had become a vast refugee camp, and many Union soldiers released from Confederate prisoner of war camps were afflicted with gel fever, typhus, a contagion characterized by rash, chills, and fever that killed 2 doctors who treated them. Now, carpenters struggled to build enough caskets for the estimated 40 to 50 people who died daily from gel fever, but also battle wounds, sepsis, and other maladies. Every available house or outbuilding was crammed with people seeking shelter. One visitor claimed that rents in Wilmington were higher than in New York City. Thousands of people lived in camps and tents or shanties, watched over warily by an occupying force of nearly 15,000 Union soldiers, among them blue-suited colored troops. Now, the Wilmington Herald reported that despite, that's why I was telling you about Palestine, you'd be surprised at the thousands upon thousands of Arabs who fight on the side of the Ashkenaz, who are half-blood of them. Anyway, so now you get what I'm saying. The Wilmington Herald reported that despite a large force of darkies cleaning the streets, the city was an open sewer. There is not a private residence, a kitchen, a business house of any kind, but has now filth enough about and around its doors to make every person in the city sick. No person can pass without holding their breaths. Cows, pigs, cats, dogs, and low Negroes are together in this pen. Okay? For blacks in Wilmington, they didn't know what the hell to call us. The end of the war left their lives only slightly less constrained and miserable than before. Any civil liberties envisioned by the Emancipation Proclamation had not materialized by the summer and fall of 1865. Now, the full remedies of Reconstruction had not yet taken hold in the city so soon after the end of the war. Now, just a few months earlier, a black woman, 3 black children aged 1, 5, and 7, a black girl, and 4 mules had been offered for sale in town. The same day, a railroad company offered a $50 reward for the return of a slave named Dick, who had escaped from his owner. The railroad superintendent, Dick, was considered guilty. Do you hear that? The railroad superintendent, Dick, was considered guilty of insolence as well as escape, and his master noted that the missing slave carries himself with his shoulders considerably thrown back. That means he walked with pride. He was no goddamn slave. Even with Wilmington under federal military control, freedmen could expect no special protection. And why were they free? They weren't from Africa. They were never indentured servitude, nor were their family members murdered to where they had to be adopted by us. We usually kept everybody in the families. They weren't slaves, man. See, Pelicans, whenever they write something, they got to inoculate that. It's got to be inoculated and shot into you to keep that life. None of them can tell the truth. None of them can. Even though they haven't really accomplished anything. Okay? Again, the missing slave carries himself with his shoulders considerably thrown back. Even with Wilmington under federal military control, freedmen could expect no special protection, and Union troops were spread thin, making it difficult to restore law and order in the face of Southern defiance. Barely 6,000 federal troops were still stationed in North Carolina by late 1865, and the smallest Union force in any Southern state, and by the fall of 1865, 3/4 of Union troops who had fought in the war had been mustered out nationwide. Union commanders seeking the most efficient ways to get local government functioning again turned to the men who knew how to run local affairs. Now, Wilmington's former mayor, an ardent white supremacist, was restored to his post by the local Union command, and the mayor quickly installed a former Confederate general as his chief of police, presiding over a new force composed mainly of former Confederate soldiers. And that is a brazen lie. They were putting people in costume, putting them in this place, and telling them who they would be. Just after the war ended, President Andrew Johnson sent Carl Schurz, a German immigrant, to tour North Carolina and report on conditions there. Schurz later told the president that the whites resisted any attempt to grant equal rights to their former slaves. Who was down there after the war? Because it was mostly Union people that come down off the boat, and they were given land, they were able to hang up their suits and all that. Anyway, wherever I go, the street, the shop, the house, the hotel, or the steamboat, I hear the people talk in such a way as to indicate that they are yet unable to conceive of the Negro as possessing any rights at all. Schurz wrote, "The people boast that when they get freedmen's affairs in their own hands, to use their own expression, the niggers will catch hell." And I told you to look up the Digger Indians. Cape Fear rice and cotton plantation owners, though under Union occupation and stripped of their slave, still wielded considerable influence, and some plantations had been seized by the federal military. So who's down there? Who's what? And they got to have the numbers. A district of Wilmington and settled with freed slaves in April of 1865, POWs. But General Joseph Howley, a dedicated abolitionist who had settled slaves on the plantations, were replaced in June of 1865 by General John Worthington Ames, an ardent conservative. In September, Ames evicted the former slaves and returned plantations to their white owners under a national policy instituted by President Johnson. No, he gave it to a bunch of damn Jews who waited for that time to be inoculated and given those lands, and that's what the facts are. I should know. Okay? It's still a good read. A lot of truths. Remember, puzzle pieces. To the white owners of the national policy instituted by President Johnson. Freedmen who worked on Cape Fear plantations were supposed to be paid for their labor, but the Freedmen's Bureau in Wilmington was inundated with complaints from black workers that white plantation owners had reneged on promises to pay them to bring in the harvest in the summer and fall of 1865. General Ames made a show of imposing Union authority. A general order issued on July 10, 1865, for instance, prohibited former Confederates from wearing Confederate rank, as required by good taste and a respect for the government of their country. But Ames was willing to be courted by the white supremacists who seethed under his command, one leading black man in the city attributed. Does that not speak volumes? If he was a Northern under his command, see how they rewrite history and make lies to compel you to think that there was some white great power and this, that, and other, when you know exactly how they move right now. Just like the IDF general or whatever, the leader at the time of Kennedy's assassination was in Texas. He was there, and the moment Kennedy was dead, he came there with 8 individuals. He was abruptly, he didn't go nowhere else. He was removed from there. Remember the Bolshevik woman, Rockefeller's sister, taking pictures of the murder? Only one standing there when everybody's ducking and running and bullets are flying around? Killed by the CIA? Okay. Especially when Lyndon Baines wanted to be president so bad, and he had to stand. He couldn't stand Kennedy. And what you have come out of that? Created by these fake Jews, homosexuals and all. Which you call a trade commission, or whatever you want to call that crap, to which you're still being afflicted by now, whatever the name of it is, federal, whatever the bull crap is. All right? The very ones that came up with conspiracy theory. All right? For instance, prohibited former Confederates from wearing Confederate rank, as you know. Now, one leading black man in the city attributed the tendency of Union officers to accommodate their former enemies to the cake and wine, all right, influence, the extravagant Cape Fear hospitality resurrected from antebellum society. Now, the white men accustomed to running Wilmington were bitter and resentful after the war because they thought we had betrayed them, because they saw a lot of black faces in uniforms they never saw, because not all Union was wearing blue like they lie in the movies. The only ones wearing blue were the Negroes, whether it be of German, Irish, Scot, from Panama, Haiti, which even those people consider themselves Incans, just like my aunt, whose name is Inca, which you see not one Native American, no pale skin. All right? And a lot of us, Angela Mayu, right? They got to change everything, right? Mayan, Incan. This is what it is. Whether you want to believe it or not, I don't care. Now, one leading black, cake and wine influence and the extravagant, right? Cape Fear hospitality resurrected from antebellum society, that is. Now, the white men accustomed to running Wilmington were bitter and resentful after the war. Under General Ames, Northern troops afforded white police officers wide latitude to violently counter any attempts by blacks to assert their limited rights, to which was instilled after the war. Most of the new police officers did not wear uniforms. They wore only a small yellow star that served as a police badge. They received no training as policemen, but they brought to the job their military skills and their contempt for blacks. They preyed on freed slaves, whipping the men in public and beating the women with boards in the countryside. Former Confederate soldiers banded with the white residents to form county militias, and they want Confederates. Soldiers banded with the white residents to form county militia companies that rampaged through the area, terrorizing black families and their homes. Now, W.H.H. Beadle, a Union lieutenant colonel stationed in Wilmington, was appalled by their attacks. Colonel Beadle had been installed as a local officer of the Freedmen's Bureau, established by Congress in March of 1865 to advance the rights and living conditions of freed slaves. Although nearly 40% of food rations distributed by the Bureau in the summer of 1865 went to fight white families. It was and remember, black and white didn't even really exist until the 1900s. So pay attention to all the crap these idiots write when they write books, that the whites of Wilmington had not truly been defeated. He watched them return from the war unbowed, full of rage, and more committed than ever to white supremacy. He was convinced, and who created white supremacy? And what was his name, for those who remembered, who actually went back and watched my videos? It's a damn fake Zionist. All right? More committed than ever to white supremacy, a desert devil, an identity thief. The only thing that this thing would reach out to bring it back. Committed than ever to white supremacy, he was convinced that whites would have reclaimed blacks as slaves if not for the Freedmen's Bureau. Lies. And any of y'all know about the Freedmen's Bureau. They have changed it. It had nothing to do with the Freedmen's Bureau. It's not for slaves. They would endeavor to return them to a system of peonage immediately. Colonel Beadle reported Colonel Beadle once saw a frail black woman clubbed unconscious by a white officer because she had been drinking in public. In another incident, Beadle watched a dog bite a white policeman as the officer was beating a black boy on the street. The boy's entire family, which owned the dog, was thrown into jail, and the policemen are the hardest and most brutal looking and acting set of civil or municipal officer I ever saw. All looked bad and vicious, Bill reported, because they were from the Masonic order. They were nurtured and reared just like the fake Jews today to do the heinous acts you see now. So Palestinians, Lebanese, all of y'all, like, shut the fuck up. Anyway, the police whippings inspired other white men in the city, and physical abuse of blacks was perhaps more rampant than ever, and white civilians often flogged blacks in public. The reason why a lot of people went to Mexico, because there was still Negroes in charge. Who founded LA? Who did the Carolinas that y'all call California belong to? Ain't no Mexico run through there. I keep telling y'all Mexico's a made-up term. I asked y'all to tell me about the Gujar, the fake Zionist that was established as an emperor, and what year that I read to you. And if you got a problem with that, we can sit down and we can have the long talk. It's like my great-great-great-great-great-grandmammy and pappy were on the long walk. No damn Trail of Tears, made up, dramatized crap by the Disney execs of these fake Zionists. Hey Jay, what's up, beloved? You know, what's up, beloved? Anyway, the police whippings inspired other white men in the city, and physical abuse of blacks was perhaps more rampant than ever. White civilians often flogged blacks in public, typically unimpeded by police, or because it didn't happen in the 14, 15, or 1600s. And damn sure didn't happen in the 1700s. Or any other occasions by Union soldiers. A colored man sometimes does not know who attacks him or why. Or why? Why is they attacking me? I sound like a slave? A colored man sometimes does not know who attacks him or why. Colonel Beadle, reported. One day he recalled a white man pointed a revolver at a young black man, then choked him, whipped him with a club, tied his hands, whipped him with a half a hoop, kept him tied 6 or 7 hours, whipping him every few minutes with a double leather strap, hurting him so bad as to disable him for 2 days. Sounds like some Jesus Christ shit to me, right? Police arrested blacks on trumped up charges, as you see these little monkeys do today, such as vagrancy or trespassing. You would think Venezuelans and these so-called New Age Mexicans and all them would be smart and be like, gotta help the brothers out. Like I said, when you live a lie, your inferiority complex and the perversion of your existence, it's easier to accept the lie than the truth. All right, beloved brothers and sisters. One day he recalled a white man pointed, Anyway, and that's some sadist stuff, right? Police arrested blacks on trumped-up charges such as vagrancy or trespassing, then forced them, in some cases, to work without pay. During a visit to Wilmington in the summer of 1865, a reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer took note of tense race relations in a city where blacks were nominally free. Remember, race didn't exist. Who created it? Who were the three individuals that conspired conspired to create this fictional race stuff? That's what I thought. Anyway, tense race relations in a city where blacks were nominally free and where whites had been defeated and occupied by their northern enemy. The reporter wrote of whites, they perceive insolence in a tone, a glance, a gesture, or failure to yield enough by 2 or 3 inches in meeting on the sidewalk. Now, physical abuse of freed blacks by white police officers and citizens was rampant. Stealing land and everything else, y'all already heard the stories, and there's thousands of them. On and off the plantations. And there was the one called plantations. My family owned the Shouse one, where a lot of my family is buried, and none of theirs. The plantations, because they weren't slaves, plantation squatters were evicted by force. We were teaching them how to cultivate maize, tobacco. I already showed you a picture of my great-great-uncle, one of them who worked with R.J. Reynolds for 65 years, teaching that punk fake Jew how to cultivate tobacco before they started adding chemicals. All right? Yes, and Lee, Mr. General Lee himself, yeah, family relative, and he wasn't no picture they show you. He wasn't no pale skin. Plantation squatters were evicted by force. They weren't squatters, that was their land. Police seized guns owned by black men. They searched their homes and seized their belongings. In the summer of 1865, an officer in a Freedmen's Bureau office in Wilmington maintained a ledger of complaints of whippings and beatings filed by former slaves. Don't ever give up your damn guns. You should be smarter than that. By colored man Dick, that J.W. whipped him severely, striking him 72 blows, by colored woman Martha, that J.F. Parker overtook her while on her way to the office of the superintendent of freedmen, put one end of rope around her neck, tied the other around the neck of his mule, and so dragged her more than 2 miles. By colored women Louisa, that JT is whipping her children continually, and when she asked him not to do it, ordered her off his place and told her not to come back. By colored man, these are reports. By colored man, Elias, that some citizens, colored man named Elias, that some citizens took his gun away from him and told him no nigger had the right to carry a gun. Now by colored man Levi, that WFL has whipped him severely with a buggy trace, shows his back all raw. That was not happening. Ain't no fake ass roots. And y'all already know that's a made up story. None of that was happening. This is the change. This is the hijack. Wilmington's new police officers were not the only white men given free rein by some Union troops. County militias formed to protect white interests roamed the Cape Fear countryside, and the militias were an outgrowth of the Confederate Home Guard, formed during the war to track down and punish Confederate deserters. Among other duties, after the war, many Home Guards joined county militias, which raided black homes on the pretext, first of confiscating illegal firearms and later of recovering stolen property. All lies. Militiamen descended on black dwellings, no, on aboriginals, the autochthonous people. We ain't gonna say black no more for this dumb fucktards that write these books. Confiscating cash, personal items. They had cash, personal items, and farm equipment. The militias were especially proficient at farm equipment. It's how they don't even know how to write and hide things. At appropriating horses and mules, many of them awarded to former slaves. No, they weren't by former slaves, by the Union Army. Sometimes, if I see another Jew or fake pecker would write another lie, you got less than 2 weeks. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. You got your little savior here and everything. Go ahead and do it. I challenge any one of you right now to go ahead and do it. I don't care if you work and you think you got higher in this year. You're not calcified. No, I dare you. Put it out there. I want the whole media, because they work for you. Make it known that your book's going out there to push the same lies. Guarantee you don't make it in 2 weeks. Guarantee it. After the war, many Home Guards joined country militias, right? Anyway, militiamen descended on black dwellings, confiscating cash, personal items, and farm equipment. The militias were especially proficient at appropriating horses and mules, many of them awarded to autochthonous brothers by the Union Army. Why would the Union Army be giving it to them when they don't have to? They didn't give them nothing. They were raiding and looting and murdering, right? They already had what they needed. Sometimes the militiamen brought their friends along on raids of black homes so that they might share in the spoils. So if they're slaves and all this, what spoils? A tour of pretended duty is then turned into a spree. House of colored men have been broken open, beds torn apart and thrown about the floor, and even trunks open and money taken. Colonel Breeding, the unit officer, reported. Now, some Union soldiers shared white Southerners' contempt for blacks. No, oh my goodness. Who were the first people they lynched? Among them were soldiers from border states of former Confederate states, including men who had once owned slaves. Bull. You know how many melanated men owned indentured servants? The original first ones? There was hundreds, if not thousands. And owned many light-skinned, thousands. There was hundreds of thousands of y'all who were working down there. And our people teaching y'all how to do it, but it was not hostile. There was no weapons, no murder, no beatings. The resentment was seeing us walk into those big houses that many of our people went and built even after the Civil War, rebuilt because y'all didn't know how to build them. And it's in plethora of books. It's in the Library of Congress because these Jews are too stupid to fix things when they write it. Okay? All right? Anyway, some Union soldiers shared white Southerners' contempt for blacks. Among them were soldiers from border states or former Confederate states, including men who had once owned slaves. Lies. In Charleston, in July of 1865, a squad of Union soldiers attacked blacks, aboriginals, and destroyed their stalls at a city market. Then bayoneted to death an aboriginal man who protested. Sounds like Atticus, right? I mean, the first so-called witch-god to die in the fake Revolutionary War, Crispus Attucks, right? Destroyed their stalls in the city market, then bayoneted to death an aboriginal man who protested. Now in Mississippi that same year, federal soldiers who had received a complaint from a plantation owner about his troublesome former slaves responded by flogging the aboriginal men responded by flogging the aboriginal man. Now across the South, Union commanders complained about the casual use of the slur nigger by their troops, and the discrimination extended to black soldiers' pay, which was supposed to be the same as for whites, $13 a month, but the so-called melanated men were paid $10 a month with $3 deducted for clothing. In Wilmington, melanated men seethed over abuse of freedmen by local whites under the local deviants, under the noses, or Cabbage Patch children, noses of Union soldiers. The city's light-skinned authorities complained in a letter to the provisional governor that colored soldiers, motivated by smothered revenge, were inciting local melanateds to mount an insurrection against the light-skinned authority. In February 1866, melanated soldiers marched to Wilmington City Jail to protest the whipping of melanated prisoners by light-skinned jailers. They stormed the lockup and freed the captives. Such incidents unnerved both local light-skinned folks and light-skinned Union occupiers. Ultimately, federal military commanders replaced the melanated troops with the light-skinned soldiers along the lower Cape Fear. Now, the Wilmington Journal, edited by William L. Sanders, the state's Ku Klux Klan leader, who created the Ku Klux Klan, remember his name, noted an emerging alliance of light-skins, northern and southern. The true soldiers, whether they wore the gray or blue, are now united in their opposition. Call it conspiracy and resistance, if you will. The Negro government and Negro equality, blood is thicker than water. The Negro government and Negro equality, blood is thicker than water. Ain't no damn Native Americans there. Ain't no Mexicanos and this, that, and the other. Everybody who was in the north was a composite and a mixture of the very people that went and conquered Japan, what now is Japan, and what now is China, and the South Americas, the Philippines, and all around there, and then Haiti, which they still considered themselves Incan, fought back and defeated the French using our old ways. And those they made the Hollywood movies of witches, those women who were murdered were all our relatives. I've been to a number of the sites in black graveyards. Okay? And we'll be in chapter 2 next. Goodwill of the light-skinned folks. And that's how we do that. It's beautiful to find stuff saying Hebrew and this, that, and the other, but until you realize that everything is a made-up narrative, until you get to the reality of the situation and how far our people have fallen. And I told you a story as to how and why. A peaceful people, a convinced people, a people with great knowledge and wisdom, to be sacked by beasts of the lowlands. It's not hate, it's just the truth. They're in your government running it now. How did they do that? Or did y'all think you voted them in because it sounds so good, because y'all was still watching Charlton Heston's and all them little fake ass actors and actresses who were Satanists and Baal and this, that, and the other were the very same people? Because it made you feel good? So you wanted to be just like them, not knowing that they ain't do a damn thing but other keep the chaos you see today going? Fat ass people talking about health, everything hijacked, the FDA murdering, the all of them playing a role. No, I'm just asking. Okay. Hey, Snoop, what's up, baby? In New York Minute was happening. The nose was really for a Negro. Man, yes. Cape Fear, Crispus Attucks. Thank you, baby. So anyway, I hope that y'all enjoyed the read. Okay? Hope you enjoyed it. I really do. We got to figure out the tent, our screen, our front door, because this is not a winter tent, y'all. The Chinese don't know so well. No, I'm just saying, when it comes to business, this is cheap, worthless stuff. I mean, think about it. We were the original people that made bandanas. Now they're being made in Taiwan and Hong Kong. I mean, come on, man. Nobody can see what's going on. DuPont is still poisoning everything, and everyone's fine with it because you think you're all right. Anyway, so we got a few things to take care of today. It's gonna chill. I'm gonna crack me another bottle of wine today. I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna make some Wagyu beef burgers. We're gonna relax and chill. Probably cook some bacon first or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. But it's gonna chill, man. Because hopefully next week, I think we're supposed to be going back and get some work done. And then finishing up the other, which we first started the week after, I believe. So anyway, Omega will let us know, and then we'll reach out, let y'all know. But we definitely, besides getting a hot tent, we definitely gonna be building. And I don't give a damn how cold or whatever it is. 50 degrees is good to build in. Actually, it's exceptional. We got to get the things done that need to be done, and we had to take a little while off because, like I said, regardless of what I'm spending or what we're spending, it's still things got to be. And the moment you sit back and you look, you realize, okay, you need this, and another. And yeah, you can always get the jump and everything else. It's better to have than have not, and then sit there and patiently wait, which is no problem. Like I said, if you want to donate, go ahead. I appreciate it. You don't have to. Whether it be for books, you can just put it on there what it's for. And again, I appreciate you all. You know what I'm saying? And I really want to come back and I want to read chapter 2. Don't worry, the other books we'll get back into. There's a reason why I do what I do. If you go back and watch the videos and look at what's going on and pay attention to the things I say, you will see the reason. You still have people crashing out over Some they have no control over. And I know some of you know that you cannot. Some certain people in your family you think you cannot reach or talk to. You don't know how to, because it was always an argument. And if you was to attempt to be calm and this, that, and other, to be persuasive, not to persuade them to choose otherwise, but to say, okay, you made your choice. I'm with you on it. And they probably be irrational and screaming, but you voted for Orange Man and all this other dumb stuff. Well, Oprah on a live TV show says she would like to be like Trump. So, I mean, we can go back and go through all the video footage from the 80s and 90s. The fact that 3 of his girlfriends were melanated. Like I said, man, it's deeper than people anyone can know. But because you have this consistency of brain damage, or whatever you want to call it, I don't know. This is where it's at. And is it out of your control? I'm gonna say yes and no. Yes, because what I said yesterday still stands. Someone say it was a moment, because I was in that mode yesterday. I was in that stop what I'm doing. Some people I think still think it's a competition, even though I've alluded to it, there's a lot of people sharing great information. People have egos, and they want to stroke those egos. They want to be identified with those egos, even if they're saying they don't. The reality is they do. You got people running around here calling themselves the greatest and this, that, and they're not. Not the greatest of research information or information in the whole or anything. And what they're sharing, I'm always expressing, be careful and mindful. There's a big puzzle piece. There's big puzzle pieces all over. And I would say 99.9% don't have a clue. But y'all are reaching out. You're seeing some people who are individually aware and they're very intelligent, and they have like, I still watch Bar Cook. I enjoy what he does. You know, Cure Meal, Drop, Charles Henderson, he called himself Chief Two Persons, White Wolf, White Bear, or whatever. But he's still my bro. You have a lot of individuals who have built platforms, and they never told y'all how to go about doing it or get with those doing it, because they're greedy and smug. They have betrayed you. And they betrayed themselves, is what I'm saying when I say they betrayed you. Can't nobody betray you but you. I'm gonna keep doing what I do, and at 99% of the time, I don't want to be doing this. I really don't. And someone say, "Well, you have a choice." In this matter, I don't. Just don't even think for me. Just stay in your lane. Don't even do it. Just don't. You know, I've expressed the 12 drinks. I asked y'all haven't. See, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all don't do nothing. I said, what is a great drink in Scotland? That's a row. It's called 12 rows. You have to finish every last one of them. I got to 11, stood up, pat, stuff had me. I fell out. Big old 90-year-old Masonic woman, big old tatas, 6 foot something tall, come over to me. I was like, this woman got to be 60 in her 90s. Gets me the help saying, look, honey, you gotta get through this. You're the last one. I was like, last what? And after I finished drinks and all these people came and it was a celebration, I was the only, you know, and they set me in the corner back there with the big guy who was all of a sudden moved, and they started telling me certain things about that I was the last one. They were sharing this information. They have been doing it over the decades, over like 4 or 5 decades, because of the wars and the losses and this, that, and the betrayals and things they did, and those who betrayed them. She had belonged to one of the original Baal. I can't get into that right now. And she was like a how do you say, a quadruple agent? I don't know how to say it. And they invoked and they shared so much with me, and they didn't have to, all because of me being American Indian, debating individuals, telling them to get out of my face. They didn't put, you know, they didn't play these few natives, and they started realizing some things would change, you know. And I didn't deny every Moor, because there were Moors here by the narrative, but y'all really don't know nothing. And my thing is for y'all to work in here instead of worrying about all out here, because Baby Girl Slaughter is a great reader. Pay attention to her. And, you know, the books that I was reading, it really catches people. It's not to be inflicted or anything. It's to be able to see what's coming and not be worried about it. You know, a lot of people, you got a lot of agents think, oh, well, we could slip in, we could do this, that, another. No, I know exactly who you are and what you're doing. I don't give a fuck who you think you are. That's what it is. See, this is what it is when they're not worried. To not have fear and all that other made-up hoobla-boo bullshit. And, you know, and that's what the problem is. Most of y'all operate on those things, you know? But, yeah, I'm gonna shut it off. Finish this apple juice and be back, and we'll read part 2. Hope y'all enjoyed that reading. Yeah, that castor oil in your hair makes your head itch. All right, I don't put it on every day. I put it on once every few days. You know, but yeah. Anyway, I appreciate y'all taking the time to listen. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. And share it. Some people. I hope my mouth wasn't that foul, right? And you see, they got like 3 or 4 of my movies with the limited, what you call under review. If you don't care, why are you speaking about it? Because it's funny. It's comical. It's so weak. All right? Anyway, beloved ladies, sisters, my brothers, never changes. All right? Remember, who's the strength? Ladies. Who's the power? Men. One does not delineate, does not take away from the other. They complement each other and work as one. And maybe you all get it. Like I said, maybe you all get it. All right? Anyway, I'll chat with y'all here in a few hours, all right? Remember, who was Sitting Bull's nephew? Did y'all see the one with his auntie? Oh. So where's these so-called fake Apaches at? Oh, it's not saying you're fake, but it's saying there's a whole lot of lies, a whole lot of whitewashing. No, I just want to know. And yes, there are some light-skinned folks who are Indian with us. Whether you like it, they might want to hear it or not, I really don't give a damn. It's a fact. And they didn't look like Boss Hogg, but you can see resemblances, all right? Anyway, chat with y'all later. Motherfuckers don't like no truth, man. I just got to do what I got to do.